I'm a 31-year-old guy. My ex-wife, Claire, is 35. We got married when I was 21, fresh out of college, and stayed together for 5 years. From the outside, everything seemed perfect. I had a stable job in IT, just like I do now. We didn't fight much. Our life together felt solid, or at least I thought it did. Even our second life was great. But then, as if someone had flipped a switch, everything changed. A few months before I discovered her betrayal, Claire became distant. The woman who once initiated everything, who laughed, flirted, and reached out for me constantly, suddenly lost interest. What had been a near daily intimacy dwindled to once a week, then to nothing. I didn't understand why, until I found out. I discovered it in the dumbest, most accidental way. Claire left her phone on the table, screen unlocked. I wasn't snooping, I just glanced at it. And there it was, a naked selfie sent to a number I didn't recognize. My stomach dropped. I clicked the messages. Full-blown affair. Every single detail in black and white. She had been sleeping with some guy from the gym I was paying for. And not just anywhere, they were in our bed, most of the time. I didn't need to confront her. The texts said it all. I stayed quiet, waiting. The following Saturday, I knew she'd be at her so-called double yoga class, which was probably just a cover for her trysts. I packed my things, loaded the car, and left. I'd already spoken to a divorce attorney. I knew I'd be fine. We had no kids. She'd inherited $200,000 from her father, so financial struggles weren't an issue. She had a degree and a career. There was no reason she could come after me for money. I left the divorce papers on the kitchen table, and that was it. As expected, later that day, Claire started blowing up my phone. Apologies, begging, claiming she made a mistake. I ignored her. That's when her friends started calling, accusing me of cowardice. If you truly loved her, you wouldn't have disappeared, they said. I ignored them too. The only person I called was the wife of the man she had been cheating with. He was dumped, and it seemed to clear the path for Claire and the gym guy to get married just a few months after our divorce was finalized. No alimony, no drawn-out legal battle, a clean break. During the court hearing, she couldn't look at me, but she brought her soon-to-be fiancé. The whole time he tried to act tough, flexing as if he wanted a confrontation. I just shook my head. Enjoy what you signed up for, I thought. Since then, I went on a few dates, had a few flings, but no real relationships. I don't love Claire anymore, and she destroyed my ability to trust people. At least I reconnected with old friends, ones I had lost touch with because she didn't like me having a social life. Facebook became meaningless. If someone matters, I see them in person or call. Claire seemed to have moved on, until last week. Out of nowhere, she started texting me again. At first, casual. Hey, it's Claire, long time no see. Or, I know I messed up, can we talk? Then the calls began, 12 missed calls in a row. I ignored them all. Then the messages became desperate. Op, is this still your number? I talked to one of our old friends. He said you still use it. Can you please respond? I miss you. You were the only man who was ever good to me. AP is a bastard. He hurts me. I made the biggest mistake of my life throwing you away. Even then, I ignored her. But she started listing the ways he was hurting her, and I reached my limit. I had zero interest in getting involved, but I didn't want to ignore something serious. So I texted a mutual acquaintance, the same one who had called me a coward years ago, but someone I still spoke to occasionally. I told him what Claire was claiming, and that if it was true, her friends and he needed to handle it. I didn't care anymore. I said bluntly, I don't care if she starves in the street or dies. Maybe her friends care. Harsh, yes, but that was how I felt. His response, "You're a monster. You're evil. How can you just leave her like this?" I told him to get lost and blocked him for the first time in forever. Then I logged into Facebook. Unsurprisingly, everyone who had sided with Claire back then now flooded my inbox, criticizing me. "Where were you when she cheated?" they asked. "Where were you when I was left picking up the pieces of my life? Where were you when I tried to move on?" They expected me to care now that her life wasn't perfect? Nope, not happening. I took screenshots of all her texts, old and new, and posted them publicly. Every message where she begged me not to divorce, admitted to cheating, claimed the other guy meant nothing, and all those people who had criticized me before, silent. Claire is still texting me, accusing me of being cruel, saying I never loved her, calling me a bad person. I haven't replied, and I never will. For the first time in years, I feel at peace. I don't wish her harm. I don't wish her happiness either. I just don't care. She made her choice, I made mine, and finally, the nightmare that had haunted me for years has ended. The silence now is my revenge. Not the kind that destroys, but the kind that finally frees me. And for the first time, that peace feels terrifyingly, intoxicatingly permanent.
There's a saying in life that everyone likes to preach. You're not supposed to take pleasure in someone else's suffering. Be the bigger person, forgive, move on. But sometimes the universe doesn't give you a choice. Sometimes the universe gives you a sign, a moment, a chance to feel a truth you've been denied for far too long. Last week, I found out that 3 of my childhood bullies had been in a devastating car accident. This wasn't a minor fender bender. It was brutal, life-altering. One had a punctured lung. Another suffered a heart attack while in a coma, and together they endured broken ribs, concussions, shattered arms, and an endless catalogue of agonizing injuries. And when I heard, my chest tightened with something, not sorrow, not fear, but relief. I know how cruel that sounds, maybe even sick, but hear me out. These were the people who had made my childhood a living nightmare. From 2nd grade all the way to our high school graduation, they never stopped. They mocked, shoved, humiliated, tormented me daily. At first, it was playground cruelty, cruel nicknames, trips, laughter when tears fell. But as we got older, it escalated into relentless psychological warfare. I became the punching bag for their boredom. Lockers, toilets, books tossed across the room, social media harassment, anonymous messages telling me the world would be better off without me. I was depressed before I even understood what depression was. High school didn't offer an escape. It amplified the horror. I stopped speaking between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. I stopped raising my hand in class. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't see a person anymore. I saw someone weak, ugly, unworthy. And the cruel thing, I believed them. I absorbed every taunt, every humiliation, until it fused with my very identity. People say bullying fades when school ends. That's a lie. It doesn't fade. It sinks into your skin, into your bones, into the way you see the world. Anxiety, trust issues, depression, the ghosts of those years followed me like shadows. Every interaction was a test, a moment to see if the world would remind me of what I already knew, that people could be cruel without reason. And then, the universe intervened. The accident was shocking, yes, but my reaction wasn't grief. It was validation. Justice, finally, in a form I didn't have to fabricate or forgive. No flowers, no apologies, just the stark, undeniable truth that life had finally balanced, even just slightly. They had felt a fraction of the terror and helplessness they had inflicted on me. I didn't orchestrate it, I didn't wish it, but when someone spends years breaking you into pieces, do you really owe them empathy when the scales tip? For the first time in decades, I felt seen. For the first time, I felt that the universe acknowledged the weight I had carried alone for so long. Some may say holding on to hate is poisonous. Maybe, but this wasn't hate. This was validation. This was the universe whispering back to me, I see you. I haven't forgotten. And for the first time in my life, I felt a flicker of peace, raw and unfiltered, shining through the long darkness of what they had done. I'm not saying I want them to suffer forever. I'm not saying I hope they never heal. But I am saying this: for once, the cruelty was not mine to bear alone. And for once, that felt terrifyingly, beautifully good.
There are mistakes you can fix, and then there are those that stay with you forever. Most childhood mistakes seem small: forgetting homework, breaking a window, maybe sneaking out past curfew. But then there are the other kinds, the ones that burrow into you, haunting your mind every day like a cruel, endless highlight reel of what-ifs. For me, it was a phone call. One short, simple call I forgot about, and because of it, a woman died. I was 13 or 14 at the time, old enough to stay home alone, but still at that phase where nothing outside of video games and my little bubble of life mattered. My mom had been a nurse her whole life. She knew how to take care of people. Not a doctor, not famous, but in our small town, many counted on her. Her best friend from childhood had an elderly mother who had been sick for a long time. I don't remember exactly what was wrong, but it was serious enough that she needed constant care. Because of their friendship, my mom was happy to help. Daily visits, bandages, medications, errands, whatever was needed. She never complained. She saved lives for a living, and this was just another person she wanted to help. To me, a child, it was just background noise, normal, until it wasn't. That day, my mom had gone out of town, and I was home alone. I don't remember why, maybe work, maybe a short trip. I was sitting at the computer playing MapleStory, a bright 2D game that demanded grinding levels endlessly. Nothing else mattered. Then the phone rang. My mom's friend's voice was frantic even before she spoke. "Can you have your mom call me when she gets home? It's an emergency. Her wound won't stop bleeding. I don't know what to do." I said I'd let her know, and went back to my game. 15 minutes later, my mom returned,
And I forgot completely. Hours passed until the phone rang again. Only this time it was different. I heard it in my mom's voice, the shift from confusion to near horror as she listened. Her best friend's mother had died. She had bled out. No one came in time to help. I watched my mom process the news. She could have been there, could have stopped the bleeding, but she didn't know. And I did. I had one job, one, and I failed. I've spent years wondering why they never called again, why they didn't try harder. But the burden of that knowledge became mine alone. I didn't tell my mom as she grieved. I didn't tell her as she wrestled with guilt. I didn't tell her because I knew it would destroy her. So I destroyed myself instead. Years later, I think about it almost every day. Would that woman have lived longer if my mom had been there in time? Did I steal months, maybe years from her life with my forgetfulness? I'll never know. Intentions don't erase consequences. That woman died, and I played a part. Some mistakes you can fix. Some become part of you. Some you never get a second chance to make right. I never tell this story out loud, but I live with it every day, and I don't think I'll ever truly forgive myself.